Hello and welcome to podcast 378 of 5-Star Potential, your weekly Football Manager podcast. I'm Doop, and on this week's pod, I'm joined by Paul and Dave. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Just first
Welcome
named
back.
You. Thank you.
Have you forgotten who we are? You've forgotten our other names because you were on your holidays. Did you mention you were on your holidays?
I just read my script, mate. That's what I do. I just read the script that's put in front of me. And actually, I changed what Dave wrote about you because he wrote it really mean. Actually, you wrote this. Quite cool.
Yeah.
On this week's pod, we're going to be having another bumper save update from each of our retrospective saves because Dave's won something. He's won that final Champions League. Nope.
What?
Okay, he hasn't. We'll also have a chat about managing obscure leagues in Football Manager for those that need some save inspiration. And if there's time, oh, please, God. If there's time, we will return to Mad's quiz. Fingers crossed. Maz can do a quiz. It'll be probably a bit better. But anyway, before we do that, lads, what have you been up to? If you want to talk about my holiday, I don't mind. Have you got any winners, any losers this week?
Get it out of your system, dude, because you're ridiculously
I
tanned,
thought you meant
and
take my
people need
top
to know. If anyone's watching it on YouTube, they need to know why you're so tanned. And I still think it's a sunbed.
I've just bought a sunbed shop. Yeah, that's literally it. No, I've been south of the equator. I went to Kenya for a wedding to see my cousin and his now wife. Well, not actually now his now wife because they got married a year before they got married last week. So it was a bit of a con, really. But anyway, he married a lady that is half Indian. Her dad's Indian, half English. Her mum's English. But she grew up in Nairobi, just south of Nairobi. So we went to a lovely place called Mombasa on the beachfront, and I sunsea and a little bit of sex all weekend. It was great. And
Dave's Football Manager as well, no?
Actually, I didn't. I had the plans. I started a little save on the plane, which was a Manchester United save because I haven't done one for a little while, and obviously. And I didn't get past the first game. I literally had so much to do with just out in the sun all day, chilling out, and playing a little bit of volleyball, beach volleyball, water polo. I'm amazing at water polo, by the way. So I played pool against a few of the reps, and I pulled out some old school tricks that they had never seen before. And yeah, we had some fun. So
you sound like when you're 12 and you go on your first ever holiday and you're like, I've tried water polo and I'm playing pool with the staff.
We're not normally like an all-inclusive people. We normally kind of go Southgate and we normally kind of go exploring. But I'll be perfectly honest, from kind of things that we were told about the country, it's quite not a dangerous country, but kind of a dangerous country. And we were kind of advised to stay close to the resort, which is what we did. We did go out on safari once, which was mind blowing. I think I actually FaceTimed Dave whilst I was on safari. Like, look, Dave, look. But yeah, it was awesome. It was a trip of a lifetime. Listened to the pod. Did listen to the pod. Thought it was bang average, to be fair, lads.
Cheers, man.
No, I'm joking.
Cheers. Thanks for that, Phil.
It was good to have you back, Mad. No, it's good. It's good. I'm very interested in your Deportivo La Coruña safe because obviously now we're both in Spain. It's almost like you kind of want to have a little heads up, but that's fine. We can have that challenge nonetheless, can't we? But yeah, mate, that's it really. That's me. That's why I'm quite brown.
You look lovely.
You do.
Thank you.
Suit you.
Yeah.
Tumbleweed.
So yeah. When we losers, so we move on there.
Yeah. All of our teams have won a game, haven't they, this weekend?
My
We're
team won a
three
game.
in a row over here. 3 in a row over here. So
we've
We're
won
3
a few
unbeaten,
games.
mate. We're cooking now. We're cooking.
We haven't lost
Mr.
in the
O'Neill.
road.
Huh? Yeah, you haven't.
Yeah,
Although I think last week was a bit of a poor game against Chelsea, wasn't it? But this week, I've not caught any of the. I didn't watch the game, but
I think
seems a pretty comfortable win.
I think we just struggled to take our chances. To be fair, I think Lissandro Martinez should have got sent off. I do have to laugh where everyone moaned about Bruno Fernandes and they're trying to link that one with the Tottenham one, but it's completely different. He literally studs him up by the knee. But But yeah, I think I'd have took a draw against Chelsea. They look quite good. To be fair, they look quite good today as well against Arsenal. We are recording this Sunday night. But yeah, I thought Newcastle were really good. I watched them from inside. It was great, Matt. Your Arsenal game. I am sat in the pool, and I can see through into the bar. It's not that far. Watching the game, and then I had these little monkeys just coming running around. Like literally, they were about a foot tall. Just mental. I couldn't believe that like they have monkeys running around. Apparently, they're like the equivalent to squirrels in England. I didn't know.
I don't know. The monkeys I've encountered on holidays, they steal shit and they cause havoc. So they must be nicer monkeys than
No, they are. They're not nice monkeys at all. Like the security guards on site all have like what are they called? What did Bart Simpson have? Slingshot. Yeah, catapults. They're little catapults that they just constantly try and hit them because they are pests technically.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I thought Tottenham Newcastle played really well. And who did you beat? Who did you beat, Wolves? Who did Wolves
Southampton.
beat?
So we had to win really. Otherwise, we would have been in a bit of trouble. But yeah,
big
VAR
game.
on our side a little
Massive
bit, but for a change. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
good,
I saw some complaining. I did see some complaining.
Yeah, I think they had a goal disallowed, which I thought was a foul. Then our second goal was a great goal by Cunha, but there was a couple of fouls in the build-up, which I'm surprised weren't pulled back, to be fair. But two things in our favour. So yeah, just nice to get a win because our first win of the season. So.
You're well overdue that. Not only the win, but a bit of luck.
Did you see the graphic recently of the VAR decisions?
No, actually, no.
The Wolves were since I don't know if it's since the start of last season or maybe since VAR came in. We were minus 19, so we had 19 decisions go against us.
Really?
I think the next highest in the negatives was like minus 8 or something like that.
Cool.
So we've had like 11 more decisions go against us than any other team. So yeah, it's just nice to get a couple in our favour for a change.
Yeah, it's interesting to just think about why, a lot of Wolves fans will just think all the refs and all the VAR and stuff they practice hate Wolves. I mean, you'd like to think it's not the case, but like, what kind of, is it the style of play?
No, it's so unlucky, I don't know.
The type of players, or is it just shit luck? I don't know. So.
I know.
Also, whilst we're there, massive shout out to Ipswich, their first win of the season as well, beating Tottenham, which is always nice to see Tottenham lose. Because obviously Ange is phenomenal. Everyone loves Ange.
I think he'll be under a bit of pressure soon.
Well, I was just about to say, everyone says that Ange is phenomenal. And obviously United are in turmoil. We're a point behind them. just 1 point, just 1 point.
It's crazy, yeah. But the way, I don't know, I mean, this is side topics, but he sets them up to either win well or just get beat. There's not much in between. Do you know what I mean? So
I mean, we can't talk. We haven't played Ipswich yet, but like that's next week. We guess our next game. But it's mental when you look at the league at the moment. You see Chelsea in third on 19 points, and then you scroll all the way down to United in 13th on 4 points below. You know what I mean? It's only 4 points.
Yeah, in. Crazy league this season. Like it's kind of wide open because everyone's kind of dropping points, and even Newcastle there, and all of a sudden with 2 wins in a row in the league, we're on 18 points, only a point behind there. So. Yeah. I'm happy with Newcastle. In fairness, Anthony Taylor was an absolute shit show today again, man. I don't know if you saw it. There was an elbow, and like Tino Livermento's literally got blood coming out of his mouth, and he's like dismissing it as if nothing happened. I don't know, but
it's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame that we're meant to have the best league in the world, yet our officials aren't the greatest. But anyway, so we're all winners, and Mad's a loser. Is that what you're saying?
No change.
Yeah,
welcome back to.
As per.
Okay. We're talking about Mad and losing. I think it's probably fair for Mad to jump on to his save update because I'm sure he's probably lost a few games in there as well.
That's not true.
I mean, it's not a personal attack if it is factual, is it? Let's be honest.
No, and I took that personally. No. Interesting times in Deportivo La Coruña. So if anyone didn't hear last week, I've started a new save. Deportivo La Coruña, obviously trying to do a bit of an Irish slant on things, a little bit of buy low, sell high, and ultimately just have fun with Football Manager again. And the first season went so well, and it was so much there was just a lot of things happening that I did a blog post about it. So the good news is I've done season 2, I've completed season 2, and I've also written a blog about it, and it'll be out the same day as this podcast. So yeah, we'd gotten promoted in season 1 via the playoffs. We had won 11 games in a row through some miracle. I don't know, like
Even
I
reload.
still can't explain it.
Yeah, no,
I'd love to
either.
say saving and reloading, but if I knew how to actually win 11 games in a row by saving and reloading and having time to do it, that would be insane. That definitely didn't happen in the second season. So we've gone up to La Liga, which is great. We got given 8 million euros. Now I'm going to speak in euros. 8 million in the transfer window to go and try and compete. That is not a lot of money to go up and start playing against Mbappes and Yamals and Bellinghams and Griezmanns and all this. So felt a little bit kind of under pressure. And a media predicted finish, lads, of, drumroll, 20th, bottom of the league.
Ouch.
So you would be thinking uphill battle as soon as we kick off. Not too much money to spend. Our weak squad, very little depth. A lot of loan players returning as well. That their kind of pairing clubs wouldn't let them stick around. So we kind of had a lot to do. As I mentioned, we had 8 million to spend. Not a whole lot of money. Sold one player, Mario Serrano, his name was, for about 4 million. So that kind of brought our budget up to 12. And Dave, you remember I was talking a lot about Charlie Patino. I was being very careful with Patino because good enough to stick around, good enough to kind of play a part in La Liga, let's say, improving all the time. But I had a lot of interest in him, and there was some Premier League clubs, some newly promoted Premier League clubs, a couple of French teams. So I didn't want to kind of risk like offering him out to try and get money because I was like, I just won't get as much. So I wanted to just kind of play the waiting game and see what came in. Not a whole lot came in, but I'll come back to that. In the meantime, very quickly, there was one player I came across. I was doing kind of a bit of scouting. We've limited scouting, kind of a network. My scouts are a bit crap, so I was trawling through leagues, and I ended up in France in a club called Lorient, and I came across a player. His name is Junior Kroupi. It's Kroupi. Now, I hadn't spotted this player really before too much. Looked really good in game, only 19, really versatile, can play up front, can play as a 10, can play on either wing, as a kind of an inside forward, let's say. Ridiculous attributes. At the time, he had interest in him from Tottenham and also, I think, Dortmund. I went in really early, and we ended up basically getting a fee agreed of 11 million with 50% up front, and then the other kind of half in 3 installments. And got the deal done over the line, like literally, I don't know, really early in the season, like so early that it's showing as a season 1 signing and not a season 2 signing when you go and look at your transfer history. But this guy's a wonder kid, like in game, and looking at his attributes as well. He's like double figures across the board: 15 pace, 14 acceleration, 14 dribbling, 15 technique, 16 decisions, termination 13, his finishing is 13, composure 13, all really, really good stuff, passing 13. And as I said, he can kind of play anywhere. So really, really big kind of signing to get over the line. At the very least, we should be able to sell this guy on for a hell of a lot of money. And his value, after signing him for, let's say, 11 million with half of it up front, his value went up to between 19 and 25 million straight away. And I can tell you it's a lot more now after the season that passed, just as time has progressed. So really, really happy with that. However, that was nearly half of my budget gone on one player. So I just couldn't say that. It was too hard to not do that deal because he is that good. He's a difference maker. And if I manage to survive the second season and we get a bid in of 30, 40 million for him, like I could do a whole new squad with that money. So that was kind of the thought process there. And then started to kind of obviously then fall back onto some cheaper or better value players. I found a player in the free agent market. I don't know if you lads will remember. I think this player was a wonder kid in FM 16 or 17. Francesco Geraldes, Geraldes. So he was an attacking midfielder, Portuguese. Probably would have been in and around the time there was like Mateus Pereira, and these guys were also wonder kids in and around that Portuguese league. He's in game now. He was 30 years old on a free contract. Out of contract. But I remember having him in a Newcastle save back then, and he was brilliant. So his attributes are still pretty decent. He's really good technical attributes, a bit of experience that we'll definitely need as well in La Liga. So signed him on a free. His nickname is Chico as well, so you just got to love that. Chico time. And then brought in a couple of really good fullbacks, really, really young. One for 4 million. His name is, it's really hard to pronounce. He's French. It's William Michel Bronsis, I think his name is. He was playing in Germany for Hamburg. And I came across a Croatian left back called Vukancic, 325k, but really, really good. Like tackling 16, marking 16, decent physicals. Can just slot in there as a fullback or an inverted fullback. And then outside of that, I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. So a few loan signings. Brought in a winger from Girona. I brought in another forward from Sassuolo. I won't even give you their names. You probably won't have heard of them. A centre back from Bayern, Tarek Buchmann. I loaned him in. He's a kind of a young 19-year-old centre back. And then one for you, Dave. We had to bring in an Irish player, as you know, because that's just the vibes down here in La Coruña. But we loaned in Joe Hodge from Wolves.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, he's not bad.
I think he was expecting a better reaction to that, Dave.
No, I was hoping for a bit more enthusiasm.
No,
he's not bad in game, Dave. I don't know what he's like in real life, though.
I don't think he'll ever play for us first team, to be honest. I think he's destined to be a championship player, to be honest. But yeah, he's
is he? I think is he ex-Man City?
Yeah, we signed him from the City Academy.
Yeah. Okay. He's not bad in game, and in fairness, for what I need, I just need a kind of a backup defensive midfielder, somebody to sit into, because I have two DMs playing in my formation. So that's a whole bunch of signings made on top of the squad we already had. We've got some talented wingers, as I said. We never got that bid in for Charlie Patino, and again, I didn't want to push the agenda, so I just kind of left it. So just kind of floating with the squad, the bones of which got us promoted. A few additions, obviously Junior Krupi being a big one. But still not very strong going into La Liga. Who do we have in the opening game of the season, lads?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. We lost 3-0 in the opening game. Rodrigo scored twice. Vinicius scored as well. Great start to life. But I actually thought it could be a lot worse. They had already spent about 150 million. They brought Gonzalo Inacio, Alex Grimaldo, Karim Konate on top of the players they already had. So you just can't compare. And then just from there, it was really, I suppose, from a pattern perspective, as I look at the fixtures, like we won the next game. We won our second game against Real Betis. We won 2-1. One of the lone wingers, his name is Ilias Sher. Got him from Girona. He scored. And Luca Connell, Dave, you remember we spoke about him last week, the Irish boy. So we beat Betis. Then we lost to Girona. Then we beat Real Sociedad 3-2 with a late goal. Junior Krupi finally got off the score sheet there. A lot of that then kind of happened. We'd win a game, we'd lose kind of a game or two, draw a game, really patchy form. And as the season progressed, like I'm just looking at the first half of the season, we didn't really have any real giant killings. We beat Villarreal, I think 1-0 at one point, lost to Valencia, drew with Sevilla, lost to Atletico Madrid. The games we won are games you'd expect to win. Dupe, you like this one? We beat Alaves 1-0 with a goal from Charlie Patino.
It's not big, that, mate. It's not big and clever. No. It's pretty easy to beat that team, mate. I'll be honest with you. It is
really, to be fair. Beat Vallecano, lost 4-2 to Barcelona. Then we got to November. We actually went on a kind of a 4-game unbeaten run. A 6-game unbeaten run. We won 2 games. We did draw 4, and a couple of them were at home. But all in all, we got to the end of the year, basically the end of the calendar year after Christmas, and we were sitting in 10th, which isn't too bad. Again, the teams that came up with us, Almeria, I think it was, and Sporting Gijon, they were right down there. There's some pretty poor teams in La Liga, which kind of helps the situation. So because we picked up in that first half of the season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, that kind of did enough to keep us at mid-table. And things got a bit more exciting then as we hit the kind of winter, January time of year. For good and for bad reasons. One thing that did happen, and I'd mentioned this in last week's pod, so we have a striker, he's Moroccan, his name is Mohamed Bouldini. He's quite good. He scores goals when he plays. The problem is he always gets injured, and he gets like 3 weeks, 6 weeks. He's the Callum Wilson of Moroccan football, is what I've called him here. I just got so fed up with him, I was like, right, we're going to need a striker. And I actually put him on the transfer market to see if I could get any money in for him. We ended up selling a young player called David Mella for 4 million to Lyon. He wasn't really playing for us, not good enough for La Liga, but Lyon decided to be good enough for them. So we took the 4 million and ran with that. As that happened simultaneously, our budgets, like our overall budgets and our bank balance was looking good. So the board came and asked us, did we want to increase the transfer budget proactively? We didn't ask. And I got very excited. They increased it from 2 million to 4 million.
Oh,
so, yeah, they doubled it to 4 million. So again, not a whole lot, but remember, we just had that 4 million. But then it gets interesting as we're just coming into that January window. We got a 12 million offer in for Charlie Patino from Rennes in France, the team that's REIMS. 12 rising to 14.5 was the best we could get out of them. I couldn't say no to this. That's a huge amount of money to add to that kind of, what did I say, 4-6 million that we had already. So suddenly we're in January, mid-table in La Liga, with a really weak squad, but 20 million to spend. And lads, I just shat the bed and blew every bit of it as much as I could.
Yes.
I just had to be done, really, because to be honest, I was like, this is only going to get worse. We were lucky to be in mid-table, to be honest. We still had a lot of big teams to play. So then I went shopping again, as you do. I mentioned we needed a striker, so I basically was fucking off your man Buldini, hoping to get a bid in. Espanyol were hanging around, and I wanted to try and find a striker who was just a bit more explosiveness, a bit more flair, a bit more excitement, and a better finisher. And we landed on Cameron Archer, 6.25 million from Southampton, which wasn't too bad because they had gone down.
Really cheap. Oh, they gone down.
Yeah. And on paper, like 14 pace, 16 acceleration, 16 composure, 16 finishing. Do you know what you want to see? 14 off the ball. So hopefully you'd think,
and a really good celebration.
Yes, which is the most important because you can't see it in game. And what else then? I had to bring in some Irish players again. So I came across a guy who was the greatest name that I've seen. I've spotted this player a long time ago, but I hadn't seen him in FM for a while. He's ex-Arsenal Academy. His name is Armstrong Oko Flex. Now, I don't know if any of you lads have heard of this guy.
No.
He's basically a winger and can play up top or on either wing. He's pace 14, acceleration 15, dribbling 14, technique 14, flair 17, and he's Irish, Dave, which you know we love after last week. So he was 6.2, 5.5 million straight up front. So that was a good permanent signing, I think, to make. And then we were leaking a lot of goals, so I went Irish again, lads. There was a player on the loan market this time, but I ended up spending about nearly 2 million on the fees and covering about 80% of his wages, which is about 42 grand. Andrew Amabamidele from Nottingham Forest was a decent centre back. Again, I know he's Irish and the bias is there, but his physicals are really good. He's quick, 15 pace and acceleration in game, as well as 14 tackling, 14 heading, 14 marking, 14 jumping reach. He's 6'3". So just someone to go in there. So I basically have 2 Irish centre backs now, as well as that half Irish, half Spanish guy we signed in the first season. Garcia McNulty, the greatest.
I think with the beauty with signing, especially British based or players like Archer in particular, I think because they're homegrown, obviously in England, they kick on and have a half decent spell with you. You're definitely going to make profit on that. I think, like Doop said, I think it's really good value. So, like, you sort of buy low, sell high. I think Cameron Archer screams, you get him double figures in a season. He screams making 15, 20 mil at least, I reckon. So that's decent business, that is. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, he did okay as the season progressed. Like, we suddenly brought in 3-4 first team players in a January window, which is always a bit of fun. I also loaned in a young German midfielder called Tom Bischoff from Hoffenheim, Bischoff, I think, just to give an extra cover midfield because we sold Patino. So the dynamics were a little bit all over the place. But as I've come out into January thinking we're going to go and smash it now, having brought in all these new players, in we get a notification in the inbox, and this is echoes of last season. Our goalkeeper, Dave, you remember the goalkeeper I mentioned last week, the tall Bulgarian guy, bought in for 1.5 million, first team all the way, went to the Euros with Bulgaria. Svetoslav Vutsav, broken collarbone, 9 weeks, gone. And that happened around March, so you're basically like rested season.
Was it this game with the goalkeeper injuries, or was that FM23? Remember right at the start of the game when every goalkeeper was getting injured?
That was last year. I think it was FM23, but I seem to be having it in this safe because last year I had my first choice keeper going. That's why we bought this guy. So, and as I mentioned last week, the backup keeper, I mean, I didn't want to allocate any money towards a backup keeper, so I still have the same shit backup keeper. So, we never learn. So, overall, as we look at the second half of the season, going into January, we lost to Madrid, we lost to Betis, we beat Girona, we drew with Athletic Bilbao, which was fine. A kind of a dodgy run where we had a draw with Sevilla, and then we lost to Valencia, lost to Villarreal, lost to Barcelona. But then we did pick up a couple of wins here and there. Cameron Archer started scoring a few goals. He got a double against Osasuna. Junior Krupi getting a winner like against Gijon. But just again, patchy results. To be honest, like we just didn't do anything remarkable. Is the only way I can describe it. We would beat a team at home when you'd expect to beat a team at home, and then we would get beaten away at the same time. So the one thing that stood to us then as we came towards the end of the season, we beat Almeria 4-1 and we beat Mallorca 4-1.
Oh, nice.
And that basically solidified things for us to finish in 11th place in La Liga overall, which wasn't too bad. We've had a lot of draws, which kind of just kept us gradually tapping away at points. And as I said, the teams below, a lot of them they're just quite poor overall. So the kind of relegation teams had kind of sorted themselves out a few weeks before the end of the season. Archer did all right. I think he got 5 goals in about 12, 15 games. Same for that new guy, Occo Flex. He got like 1 or 2 goals and only 3 or 4 assists. The one thing I would say to you, lads, Junior Krupi, this wonder kid that we signed, he was top scorer with 10 goals. But he only got 4 assists. So in the whole season, and he played, let's say he played 25, 28 games. It's not brilliant. Now, I did kind of rotate him a little bit. Like I was trying him up front before we signed Cameron Archer. I was trying him on the left. I had him in as a 10 at different points. Just his average rating was always a bit shit. He would pop up and score important goals every now and again, but his average rating was just always a bit pants. And what's weird is, the Next Gen 50?
Yeah.
He was listed as number 2 behind Lamine Yamal in the Next Gen 50. And I can't seem to get a proper tune out of him at all. So, I look at Doop and say, that just says more about me than the player.
I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But look, as I said, he is a wonder kid in a very average team, let's say, that randomly has a bunch of Irish lads in it just because I put them there. So I'm going to do a bit of work in terms of looking at him and his traits and his training and looking at it in the summer. In terms of value, I'm just looking at his profile now. By the end of the season, his value has gone up from 32 million euros to 48 million euros, and we signed him for 11. So at the very least, if we do get interest in him, there's a big cash money's windfall coming in if we do end up having to sell. Because as I said, we're doing a bit of buy low, sell high. That's kind of it, really. Upgraded the youth facilities. We had another talk of a golden generation intake. 2 or 3 decent players, but nobody special. One guy called Victor, who's valued between 6 and 9 million. Attacking midfielder, left-footed. I'm going to try and retrain him to play on the right as a kind of an inverted winger. But nothing spectacular apart from the determination, which is always a good sign. Yeah. So we're going to keep an eye on things there. But I think the main thing is now we've kind of consolidated ourselves as a La Liga side. We got in the news notification that we'll receive 40 million for La Liga TV rights. So our bank balance has gone right up. Like I think just as we're going through the summer, it's the overall bank balance is about 40, 50 million. And transfer budget, we have it. The news notification came in to say we have 10 million. That actually can stretch to about 20 million, and still leave us with some budget, wage budget to play around with. So anything from 15 to 20 million to spend in the summer, plus if we sell anybody. So I think we'll take it. It was a bit underwhelming in terms of performances, a very patchy form. And you go through a whole season in a league like this and you don't beat a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or Atletico, or you don't have any kind of standout results. It all felt a little bit average, but I have to remember that we only just got promoted. And as I said, it's not a fantastic team.
So you said about buying low, selling high. Have you got any of these boys looking like they're going to be on the way out? It's going to help you bolster that finance.
It looks a bit like it. Maybe not as intended as planned. Because I went mad in January and basically blew all that cash and blew all the budgets and just went nuts in January to try and push us up the league, I didn't really get to tackle 2 players' contracts. So 2 players we'd signed are the goalkeeper Vutsov and Luka Condell, who's actually a really, really good midfielder, surprisingly. And they're kind of playing an important role for us. Because I never really did anything about their contracts, they originally signed on a 3-year contract. Once we passed that kind of 18 months left, the 2 of them just came out of nowhere, too big for their boots, and just said, I'm going to consider my options at the end of my deal. And they will not enter any negotiations at all. So we're kind of going to get to the point where we're coming into a season where it's their last season on their contract. So I think we're going to have to probably think about selling one, if not both of them.
Mm.
I reckon we might get about 10 or 12 million for Vutsov. I think I have a release clause of 15 because as you know, Doop, you have to have a release clause in Spain in La Liga. So I think he's got a release clause of 15 when I signed him. Luca Connell's is about 10. I don't know if I'll get 10 for Luca Connell, but both those players were bought for 1.5 million. So even if I'm selling each of those for, let's say, 8, 10, 12 million, that's a big old markup. And then outside of that, then you're looking at, whether I get big money for Krupi or one of those kind of bigger names. It'll be interesting to see. But I think if I have to sell the keeper, I'm going to do well to sign a better keeper. But this is the name of the game, is trying to do a bit of succession. Can I go and sign another player, maybe a goalkeeper worth 2, 3, 4, 5 million, who again in a year or two's time I might sell for 3 or 4 times that? And that makes it interesting and fun.
Yeah, really does. Awesome. Okay, David.
I played a little bit, but not a huge amount, if I'm honest.
Not been at work this week, though, mate.
No, I've been very busy. That's the issue. I'm getting closer to the Libertadores knockout stage because I don't think I appreciate sort of. I suppose the same as the UEFA Champions League. Once a group stage finishes, it's still a good few months before you actually get into the knockout stages. So that's sort of the stage I'm at now, but doing really well in the league, to be honest. Just in, I think, Corinthians sort of battling out towards the top. I lost to them in the league, so they leapfrogged me, but really kicked on since that game, to be honest, and they've dropped some points. So just continuing and carrying on. So I was hoping I'd get some played over the last few days and not really had a chance, to be honest. So hopefully over the next few days get some more played. I'm actually off tomorrow. Hopefully I'm quite, and I shouldn't admit it on a Football Manager podcast, but I'm really into FIFA, EAFC at the moment, to be honest. So that's taking up a lot of my time, to be honest. But I think a good few sessions and I can really pretty much get this season done. And I think I said in January, I think that I wanted to finish this Pentagon Challenge. So it's we're 10 or 11 months on and still here. But yeah, I'm hoping that me and Duke can pick up the network save or decide what we're going to do with the network save over the next day or so as well. So finish the Penty and then obviously crack on with the network save, hopefully again with Duke, because that was good fun in the first season.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a little chat about that tonight, if not tomorrow. Just to make everyone aware as well, previously in previous pods, me and Mr. Azzopardi had a bet. He has lost that bet, and I have not.
The tweet
activated my reward just yet. So I'm holding it over his head. We nearly had one the other week, but Gary O'Neill has saved his job. So it won't.
What was it going to be? Or are you saving it?
It was going to reference the fact that Gary O'Neill needs to go, and there's only one man for the job, and Bold is best. Something like that, basically. Basically, you call it for Ten Hag. Yeah.
I'll probably take it all, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the problem. And then I was going to be very mean about a different tweet, but I decided against that one because I think that'd get you cancelled.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
But it's. I'm just excited for you to get it finished. Network save, we're not really entirely sure what we're going to do yet. Whether we carry on, we'll have to have a good chat about that. Whether we carry on. I've just been talking to Joe this week, or today, about his little West Ham save that he's doing. And you'll never guess who's top of the league in that West Ham save, Dave.
Spurs?
Do you want to guess? Yes, Tottenham. Absolutely walking the league. OP to fuck, apparently. So,
brilliant.
I think potentially it's not as good an achievement as we first thought, to be fair, as a player. But yes. So we don't know. We have talked about a couple of other little saves that we might kind of tickle onto. We do have a bit of time. I've actually started a new save today. Whether that lasts the whole year, meaning like in-game season, or whether it goes on for a bit longer, I don't know. But I'm sure we'll kind of touch upon that very shortly. But I think it's probably fair for us to bookend the save updates with heading back over to Spain and over to La Liga and talking about my time at La Liga, because I was there first. Mad. And I've made mine a little bit harder than just, I might sign a few Irish people. For some reason, because Deportivo Alaves are in the Basque region, I've decided that only signings that we bring in have to be Basque-only players, even though it's not a rule that the team enforce. It's a rule that we are enforcing. I did try to cheekily loan a striker that was definitely not Basque on stream before we went away, and everyone kind of said, no, it's probably not best. Like, if you're going to do it properly and just get Basque only. So we decided against that. We had about 5-6 million to spend in the transfer window in January because we did actually just disable the first transfer window. It's something that I actually quite enjoyed doing. It gets you into the save so much quicker. Because you're not spending that first kind of window selling and buying players. And I think Dave can probably talk is my backup when I explain the fact that in that Chelsea save, I think I sold about 15 players in the winter. If me and Dave were doing that at the start, it just would never have took off. It would have taken far too long for that save to take off and maybe never even get to the end of it. So I quite like doing that. We started off by just playing a shit ton of friendlies, still playing 2D on stream, trying to get like a 4-4-2 diamond narrow to work. Couldn't get it. We then decided to drop some wingers in there as well. The annoying bit is we started against Vallecano and beat them 3-1 in the first game of the season at home and played beautifully. We then had to wait all the way to October before we won another game because we lost all sorts of teams, but we had a shit ton of draws. We did lose 4-0 to Atletico Madrid, but we drew 0-0 with Sociedad, 1-1 with Valencia, 1-1 with Girona, and 1-1 with Espanyol. So we were picking up points as we go. Annoyingly, some of them were quite last minute. Some of them were also where they had where we missed a penalty on one of them, which was quite frustrating when you come away from a draw when you miss a pen. And then we played Villarreal away from home. And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, we battered them 4-0. We didn't change anything apart from the fact that we just battered them 4-0. And then we went into Barcelona at home after 2 little friendlies to give us a bit of a boost in October. And we lost 1-0. And I'm thinking, right, okay, here we go. We've got a little system, this little diamond system that's working, and we're kind of creating chances. We're not always scoring, our chances are taking them, but we're not getting embarrassed, and that's kind of the main thing. We then went and played Mallorca away from home. We beat them 1-0 as well. Our left back got injured, which was quite a painful because we don't have many left backs on our squad. We also then went and played Valladolid, which is that's R9's team, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, is that R9's team? We scored an 88th minute equaliser after getting a player sent off in the 67th minute to draw that one 2-2. And we are like on a fantastic run here, like really happy, really chuffed with the diamond. We seem to be producing what we need to produce. We went and played Seville away from home. We beat them 1-0 by having 1 shot on target, but we nullified them because they didn't have a single shot on target. We made everything a little bit away from the goal, so they had to really try and, I think they had about 6 or 7 shots, but nothing on target. So we kind of limited their chances. And then it all went downhill because we got battered 5-0 against Real Madrid. And now battered 5-0 against Real Madrid isn't the worst thing in the world, but we were dreadful. I think they were like 4-1 up, 4-0 up after like 40 minutes. And we then just tried to contain as much as we could. We were getting absolutely mullered by the fact they've got Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. Out on the wings and just absolutely just mugged us off, really. And I was thinking, it's fine. It's just it's absolutely fine. Like, it's just a single game. We're against the best team in the league, to be fair. Let's just go and play Atletico Bilbao, who are obviously Basque. Bit of a rivalry for us. We went 1-0 up after 11 minutes and we fucking battered them. We were, I think the best way to put it is we were the wolf and they were the 3 pigs in the little wooden hat. Right? We were just battering the door down. We then got a penalty in the 79th minute and there's only 1 player. For some reason, we've been really positive all through the game. I can remember it like it was yesterday, right? Or really positive all the way through the game. He steps up for the penalty. Villa Libra, who is a striker for us, who is, some of you may know the name. He has played at Bilbao. He is actually Basque as well. So it's perfect, works really nice. Just trying to bed him into the team. He misses a penalty on the 79th minute. He was the only player that was composed. Everybody else was kind of anxious or nervous. He was the only one that was composed. So we changed it to him and he missed it. And then we conceded a 91st minute penalty for Nico Williams to score. And I just bashed my head on the desk because that was literally their only chance. Now, they got an XG of 1.2, but that's because 9.9 is a penalty. Do you know what I mean? So we absolutely battered them, but really annoyed by that result. That really kind of hit me in the feels. And the rest of the kind of December, January time, results were up and down. We weren't really creating anything that was that exciting. What we did have to find is we weren't creating a huge amount of chances. So then we tried to add some wingers to it and play a bit more of a 4-3-3 with the DMs and a bit wider, see if we can cut in. The first game we did that was against Las Palmas. We won 4-3 after Fabio Silva, who was mentioned in the podcast last week, scored on the 11th minute. But we kind of, we got back in it. It was a really interesting game, 4-3. They scored. It was 4-2 right for the whole of the second half until the 85th minute. They scored. Then we just shut up shop. But we still didn't create a huge amount. I know we scored 4 goals, but we didn't seem to kind of have that fluid transition through the team to go on and kind of win games comfortably. And then we didn't win another game in the Liga for the rest of that kind of January, February time. We just lost to Atletico Madrid yesterday, 4-3, being 3-0 down. Mixed it right up at the end of the game and we scored 2 late goals, 83rd and 84th minute. But still nothing that really screams that we are doing well, but we're doing okay, if that makes sense. It's a bit weird. In the Copa Libertadores, that's Dave. In the Copa del Rey, we're into the quarterfinals against Real Madrid, so that's us out. We haven't played it yet, but I'm going to guarantee away from home against Real Madrid, we're probably out of that fixture. So we're currently sat, after 23 games, we're sat 23rd in the league. Nope, that's a lie. 13th in the league. There's only 20 teams. And I'm not even that, Mad's not even that bad. Crikey. So we're sat on 26 points. 18th is, they're sat on 21 points. That's kind of the cutoff there. So I think maybe 10 more points in the next 15 games keeps us up. I'd like to think, which is probably possible. But we just got to kind of get those wins, and I'm kind of going to go fight the fights that we can fight and try and nullify. So I'm going to go in with a 3 at the back system now for when we play the better teams to try and nullify what they can do, maybe scrape a draw here and there. Like I said, we only got to pick 10 points up, I think. 36 points, 40 points would probably be enough. So 10, 15 points. And then when we play the teams that we should be winning, then hopefully we'll go at it. We do have to play Real Madrid and Barcelona in that, away at both of those, which is going to be tough. We do have a nice 4 or 5 games run at the end of the season, which is all teams in the bottom half of the division. But it might mean that it goes to the wire to whether we stay up or not. If we get relegated, I think that'll probably be the end of the save. It sounds ridiculous, but the board are very happy with what we're doing so far, but the board are very shit. Like, they're not very helpful to me. They're a little bit upset that I've not spent, or literally not spent any money, which is a bit weird for me. I've just asked for the training to be increased, the training facilities. We're also trying to push to get better youth development because obviously we're doing the Basque only, and that's kind of really key for us. But they are really happy with what we're doing. We're a B-, but I do think if we go down, then they're going to get very upset because they want us to become an established La Liga team this season. They're pleased at the moment at 13th. We drop 3 or 4 more points and we're down that near that bottom. I can see them telling us to walk on. But we try to do a difficult challenge, so it's not going to be easy. But it's all about kind of just keeping with the keeps and then going from there after that.
It is difficult though, because it's the same with the Legionnaires in the past. The board don't know you're doing what they don't know that's your model, so they can't understand why things are the way they are, and there's no way of doing that. And then you've added obviously even more complexity to it, because you have to compete for Basque players, obviously with Athletic Bilbao, who have loads and loads of money, particularly from a wages perspective, and even Sociedad as well. So I've done a Bilbao save a good while. It's been a few years, but it's so hard. Even if you're managing Bilbao, it's hard. Just a player pool is that small. I know Griezmann is Basque, for example, right? Mm-hmm. I know Mikel Merino, I think, is Basque. Kepa,
Pepe, yeah. They're all very old.
like
it's not kind of where I
they're
want to
all
put my
yeah.
money.
Ander Herrera is aging out there. I think Saul another one. Saul
I think so. Yeah.
He came up on a free transfer at the
Aspilicueta.
end of my second season. Saul did actually. So maybe if you get as far as 2 seasons, you might get Saul on a free.
Yeah, as long as you don't get sacked, to be fair. But it's just one of those. It's a small pool, but we're not eating first at that table, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it is the Bilbaos that are eating first. So we had somebody that we were really, really interested in. Was Ivan Martin, a chap that used to play at Alaves back in 2021. He's been at Villarreal. He's been at Girona as well. He was on a free. We were really, really interested in getting him. He was in a free at the summer. So we then went in for a £2.5 million purchase. A very good attack mid, only 25 years of age. And then he decided to go to Leverkusen and sit on the bench for them. So, but they're offering them Champions League football, previous reigning champions of Bundesliga. It's not like the Basque have to play in Basque, so it's not even like we've got that chance. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it could be a short little save. It could be a little save, one season wonder, but we'll see where we get on this week. Ready for next week's pod, where we should have played some more games.
There's actually a centre back in my game I was looking at. He's at Sociedad in real life, I think, and he's Basque. John Pacheco.
Yep, I've been looking at him. He's just not that good. That's the issue.
Yeah, he looks quite good in my save here, but he went to Frankfurt and now he's available. I reckon I could get him for about 4 million. I think his wages might be a bit high, but I was thinking of signing him just for the buy low, sell high, because if I got a Basque player in and he's still only kind of low 20s, I'm sure I could sell him to Bilbao for 2 or 3 or 4 times that.
So me looking at him now, just really quickly, I've got 10 determination on mine. He's got 9 acceleration, 9 pace. Actually, his pace is high, but his acceleration is very low.
I'm looking at. Yeah.
Strength's very low, but his height's also only 6 foot, which is shit for a centre back.
It's a very different profile, because he looks really strong at my game.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
14, yeah.
But I think the problem we got is because we've got such a limited pool and we've got such a limited amount of money. Like I can't just go out and just go, he might work. We were following a striker for a little while. During the kind of the build up to the build up to the window, a little young lad, very, very young, very kind of raw, a Colombian lad, and his finishing, his composure is really good. His acceleration was great. His finishing was fantastic, but he's very small and like his records, he just hasn't scored goals. And they wanted 2.5 million, and I'm thinking it's a lot of money for us to chuck at somebody.
Gamble.
That my scouts say actually not that good. They're giving him a D rating at the moment, but when you actually look at his attributes compared to others that we have in the squad, he's probably not that bad. But it's a risk. It's just a risk to kind of give him a go, and then he turns out shit.
You say is he Colombian Basque or something?
Yeah, he's Colombian. He's Colombian, Basque, and Spanish. So yeah. There you go. He was born in Vasco. Yes, Vasco, wherever the hell that is. So listeners at home, if you wish to let us know, I'm sure Dave could probably tell us.
Brazil?
It's Spain.
Oh,
there
is a place in Brazil
Vasco
called
da Gama. You're thinking of, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of me. That's my save. I have just started a little offline save, which we'll save for another day because we're getting on to time. And you want to talk about this, which we might not have time for, actually, which is typical to what we do all the bloody time. We put a spotlight in, then we never get around to it really because we're going to
save it for next week.
Potentially. Yeah. Do you want to chuck the quiz in then, Matt? And then we'll save the managing obscure leagues because I've got one on the bonnet that I want to talk about as well.
Yeah, we can jump into it in a bit more depth next week as well, I reckon. Then.
Sound.
Wicked. Dave might be doing some work this week as well, Dave Doop, so he mightn't have a save update. He's actually doing some work.
Yeah. I text his mum and said we have a few days off.
If only. I have a little bit of a manager quiz because, Doop, I know you're very excited. We spoke about it before we hit record about your new Portuguese manager coming in.
I'm not, though. No. Hang on.
Are you, though?
No, I'm not, though. Yes, it's interesting. I like the way he's tactical. I'm interested to see whether he does carry it on. I feel sorry for him that he's going to get outed basically in 2 years' time. We're going to be sat on a podcast talking about the fact that he's exporting and half our team is exporting, a bit like what Ten Hag's done here with Ajax.
Yeah.
And he'll be sacked. I love Ten Hag. Okay, I've made it quite clear. I love him. He's one of my favourite managers in recent history at Manchester United. And the reason being is I was at Wembley when we won the FA Cup, and that's a memory that will stick with me forever. Okay?
Me too, but for different reasons. Pricks knocked us out of Europe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a bit of a manager quiz. I'm just going to kind of go through a couple of different nationalities of managers who've managed in the Premier League, lads, and you can work together to see if you can get all of the managers who've managed in the Premier League from that country.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
starting off, as we said, Ruben Amorim is imminently about to arrive at Old Trafford. But before him, there were 6 Portuguese managers that have managed in the Premier League on a permanent, and this is all permanent managers, by the way. Jose Mourinho is correct.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Spurs, United.
Nuno
is correct. Also 3 clubs. Wolves,
Marco
Spurs, and
Silva.
Forest. Marco Silva, 4 clubs. Hull, Watford, Everton, and Fulham.
Bruno
AVB.
Lage.
Ooh.
AVB was in my ear first. That's correct. Chelsea and Spurs. Bruno Lage, yes, another Wolves manager, Dave.
Yeah.
That was why the smile was on your face. There is then one more Portuguese gentleman who has managed in the Premier League.
On a permanent basis.
Yes.
Modern era, Mad? Or a while
Modern era. He's currently, so I can tell you he has managed 2 English teams, one of whom was in the Premier League just for a season. Now he's currently back managing in Portugal.
Carlos Carvalho. No.
Carlos
He
Carvalho
didn't
is
manage an
correct,
English
Dave.
team. He only managed one English team.
Well, sorry, British,
Everyone's
Swansea,
Welsh,
English
you know.
League, English
Who was
League,
he at?
English League.
Who was he at in the Prem?
Swansea.
Swansea as well. He was.
Yeah, he was with Swansea.
Because Bruno Lage was his assistant. That's how. Yeah. I didn't realise
Nice
he
one.
managed in the Prem. Yeah, nice.
We'll keep the good times going. Let's go across the ocean to Argentinian managers, 4 of which have managed in the Premier League. Can you name 4 Argentinian managers?
Bielsa.
Pochettino.
Oh, sorry.
So Bielsa is correct. Of course, he managed Leeds. Mauricio Pochettino is correct. 3 teams, Southampton, Spurs, and Chelsea.
Is it?
Pellegrino.
Yeah, Pellegrino. Shout.
Mauricio Pellegrino managed
That's what I was
Southampton
gonna
in the
say.
Premier League 2017. Correct. And there's one other.
I know who he managed, though, but it's a
Go
long
on.
time ago. Tottenham had an Argentinian manager. I don't know
Oh,
what
he's
his
the
name
ex-player.
is.
Was he of theirs?
Fuck,
Is it Sanchez or someone like that now?
No. He used. I'm sure he used to manage at Swindon as well.
Oh,
I
I
can't
know.
think
You're
what
on the
his
right.
name is.
I
You're
think you're
right,
on the
though.
right track, boys.
You're right.
Right.
I don't know his name though.
I don't know. No.
Shall I
No,
put you
no.
out of your misery?
Yeah, go on.
Listeners may be screaming, Ozzy Ardiles,
Ozzy.
who was the manager of Spurs.
I wouldn't have got that, to be fair. I knew he used to manage at Swindon.
It was a shout. That was a good shout. Yeah.
Right, let's move on to another nation. I have 6 managers from the Republic of Ireland who have managed in the Premier League.
Oh. I don't want to get this wrong because I always get the wrong Irish.
Mick McCarthy.
Oh,
Mick McCarthy is correct. 2 clubs, Sunderland and Wolves.
Owen
Roy
Coyle.
Keane. Sorry, yeah. I mean, cool.
Sorry, I'm just shouting. I'm sorry, Dave.
That's fine, it's fine. Owen Coyle is correct. He managed 2 clubs in the Premier League. That was Burnley and Bolton. Roy Keane is also correct. He did manage Sunderland that time. They
Chrissy Hooter.
promoted. Chris Hughton, also correct, managed 3 clubs in the Premier League. Brighton, Newcastle, and someone else that I didn't write down. Oh, he was caretaker at Spurs. Sorry.
How many got left now? Sorry.
So you have 1 left from the Republic of Ireland. Sorry, 2 left from the Republic of Ireland.
David O'Leary.
David O'Leary is a shout. 2
Leeds.
clubs.
I've
Leeds
got it.
Oh.
and
Villa.
Villa.
Was it?
Yeah, Villa.
Villa is correct. Yes, great shout.
Martin O'Neill as well.
He was
Martin
the other
O'Neill
one.
is from the north of Ireland.
Oh,
Dave.
so
See, I
sorry.
didn't want to
In
make that
comes the
mistake.
geography lesson.
Sorry.
Not to worry. So it's a
Uh,
bit more old school, I can tell you.
Who did he manage?
So I can tell if I tell you one of the clubs, you'll definitely know. I can tell you he's managed Newcastle. I can also tell you that you probably wouldn't know him for having an Irish accent. He's definitely doesn't speak like a fucking Conor McGregor anyway. But he's
Who the fuck is that guy?
It's not Robson. Not Keegan.
Oh, Joe Kinnear
Shout.
Joe Kinnear is correct.
with Wimbledon as well, right?
Wimbledon
Yeah,
is
sure.
well correct. Right, we'll do one or two more nations and that'll be us
Keep
done
going. It's actually quite entertaining for once.
for once. Let's go to one of the bigger ones on the list here. I have the Netherlands, 9 managers who have managed in the Premier League.
Ten Hag,
Den Haag is correct.
Bullet, Hiddink,
Ruud Gullit is correct. 2 clubs. Gus Hiddink is correct.
Slot,
Manager at Chelsea. Arne
Van
Slot is
Gaal,
correct.
Van
Van Gaal is
Nistelrooy.
correct.
Van Nistelrooy.
I don't have Van Nistelrooy on my list because he hasn't been permanently in the job.
Ronald Koeman.
Ronald Koeman is correct.
Who was
2
the one that
clubs,
was
Dave.
sacked? Who was the one that was sacked from Palace? De Boer, Frank De
De
Boer.
Boer, yeah.
Frank de Boer. I actually don't have Frank de Boer on this list.
He was at
Pulled him. I
Palace.
don't know why.
You got stats really early on, really quickly.
Yeah. So I don't know why. he's
That's why.
sorry,
maybe,
he is on my list. I apologize.
Yeah.
He's on my list.
Did we say Martin Yol? Have you said that?
No. Shout.
Martin Yall is correct.
How many left?
So you are missing 2.
Dutch.
Dick Advocat.
Shout.
Dick Advocate's a shout.
And then
Sunderland.
Rennie Mullenstein.
Shout.
Like,
Yeah, he
it's
used
like
to be
he's got
Man
access
United.
to my sheet.
No, I
They're literally both at the bottom of the list together. Dick
He's,
Advocat and Rennie Mullis.
I follow him on Twitter. He does some really good things because he puts a load of
He's been
kids.
great coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, he does loads
He's still
of kids.
coaching now.
I don't know where he is now, but he does loads of like presentations and he puts a load of like workbooks out. You can do it for your kids coaching as well. It's really
I used to love the studios.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, love that.
Nice one. I have 2 countries left if you want them, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go on
it's
then.
far away. Come on.
Let's go to France. We have 8 managers who were French that have managed in the Premier League.
Patrice Vieira. Patrick Vieira. Patrice, what the fuck? Vieira.
Patrick Vieira
Start
is
again.
correct.
Start again.
Patrick Vieira is correct. Patrick
Wenger.
Arsene
yes.
Wenger is correct, of course.
Gerard Houllier. God rest his
Gerard
soul.
Houllier is correct. 2 clubs. Villa
I've got
and
one here,
Liverpool.
Dupe. Remy Gard.
Oh, Villa.
Yeah.
This is the one I didn't think you'd get, boys. He's at the bottom of my list, but it is correct. Remy Gard. Great shot, Dave. 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go.
Matey Wood that managed Leicester as well. Southampton and Leicester.
Oh,
Claude
Claude Puel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Claude Puel is correct. Great shout.
Some of the big boys must have had a French manager as well.
I can't think of any more.
Surprised.
We've already done Wenger and Houllier. They were the big ones, weren't they, really?
So you've got 3 French managers left.
City haven't had one. Liverpool.
All only managed 1 club in the Premier League.
Oh, that's helpful.
I can tell you 1 managed Fulham. I can tell you 1 managed Tottenham Hotspur. And 1 managed Portsmouth.
Tottenham Hotspur.
I can tell you the one that managed Tottenham Hotspur lasted 12 games.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's not long.
That's not long at all. That's what she said.
Flipping heck.
Particularly notable, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, for a good old pair of glasses.
Flipping heck. Well, we're going to kick ourselves here, I reckon. So, for Spurs, you got obviously, who do they have? Redknapp, Poch.
So I can tell you the years that he managed. I'm just pulling up the list here to get the years to help you out just a little bit. So he managed Tottenham in 2004.
Oh, before Redknapp then.
He was replaced by Martin Yall,
That's just before
Having-
your.
I don't
having
know who that
replaced
would be.
David Pleat himself.
Oh, fuck knows. So that was just after Hoddle, before mine, yeah.
Yeah, it went Hoddle, David Pleat for a couple of games, and then
Yeah.
this particular French manager.
I
Even
couldn't even-
the other ones we should get, though.
The Fulham manager was definitely there a lot longer. He was there. He managed 70 Premier League games, having taken over in 2001.
Oh, it's before my knowledge really of that.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to
Right,
pass
I'm
on
gonna
this.
I'll put you out of your misery, lads. So the Spurs manager was Jacques Santini.
Never heard him.
Do you remember him?
No, I spent
And the
before my
Fulham
time.
manager, I think you should remember Jean Tigana.
I know the name, but yeah, again, I wouldn't have got
Shantigana.
it, I don't think. Was there one
And I'm
more?
going to throw you the third one. I don't think you get the third one. It's Alan Perrin, Portsmouth. Alan Perrin. That's a tough one.
Ah.
And we'll finish with Germany. 7 managers from Germany that managed in the Premier League.
Hertzler.
Hertzler is correct.
Tuchel.
Tuchel, yeah.
Tuchel is correct. Klopp is correct.
Rangnick?
Ragnick is correct.
I can't think of his Austrian.
I've got one as well.
on.
Felix Magath.
Oh.
Felix Magath is a shout. Fulham, yes, correct.
Daniel Farker. Just because I
Daniel
love his
Farke
name.
is correct. Yes, it's a great shout. So you've got 6 out of 7, and the last one could be tricky, but you did get Remigard.
That makes it sound like he didn't last long and maybe at a lower team.
I would never have got this, but I think I'm trying to think of the timeline of this guy.
Give us a clue.
It was.
Who did he manage?
So I'll give you the club, Huddersfield.
Oh. And he was assistant somewhere, or he went to manage somewhere else as well. What was his name? Oh, no, or is it? Oh, no, David Wagner. Have you already said him?
So.
Oh no, because he represents America, I think. Wagner.
Yes, this is what threw me on the list because I think that this guy kind of
he replaced him.
Succeeded. Yes.
Yeah. I can't think of his name.
I would have. Okay. I to be honest, I was thinking of Wagner, but I couldn't
I
think what his name
remember
was.
Wagner, although really thick German accent represented America.
Yeah, mate. He used to wear the old fucking hat and
I think he got replaced
like
by one of his coaches, and he actually did okay for a short while.
Oh, I would not be able to get that. He's a good. Well, Wagner was a good mate of Klopp's, wasn't he? Because he was in charge of Huddersfield when they beat United. I remember that.
Yeah, I can't think of this guy's name.
And he went to. Didn't he go
tough
to?
one.
Sorry, I know we're not talking about Wagner now, but didn't Wagner go to like Norwich or something like that?
He's there now. I think.
Managed there. Is that where he is now?
For a bit after that, I think so.
Okay.
Or was he? May no.
So the answer
he may have just
to the Huddersfield question was Jan Siewert, which I definitely
no chance, man.
You did well, lads. There's only a couple outliers there, but overall you smashed through them. So fair play.
Did well. GG's.
Yeah, well done. Well, that does bring episode 378 to a close. You can find the links for each of us in the podcast description or by visiting 5starpotential.com. You can find all of our latest Football Manager content. You can also find all of Mad's Football Manager content over at mad.fm.com/onlyfans or whatever it is, Mad. The link will be down in the description of this podcast. 5-Star Potential is available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and most of our popular podcast apps and platforms with a new podcast released every single week. Thank you all for listening. There'll be more from us next week. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Gentlemen. It's a gentleman.
I don't know.